A super common question we see online is, how do everyday people afford dental implants?
Once I saw that number, I was like, "Oh, okay. Well, this has been great. This has been informative. Thank you so much for your time."
Well, Bishop had the same thought, but he found a way to pay for his new smile. So today, we're going to find out how. You ready, Bishop?
I am so ready for this one.
Let's do it. All right. So, Bishop, first tell me, before you got this done, what concerns did you have about the cost of dental implants?
What concerns did I have about the cost of dental implants? The cost. That was my concern. Um, if I'm being completely honest with you, I hadn't even considered dental implants. I thought that the way for me to go would be maybe the denture route, like my mom and a few of my other family members. And so when I first saw that Nuvia ad pop up on my social media, and they're like, okay, well, are you experiencing this? Do you feel this way? You should take our 60-second quiz. So I clicked on the link and took the quiz. And they're like, all right, well, why don't you come in for a free consultation? Okay, free consultation. We're going to charge you this amount of money, but you're going to get it back as soon as you come in. I was so skeptical. But I understood that it was just to keep the appointment. And I was absolutely surprised when I walked into that Nuvia office for the first time, not knowing what to expect. And someone says, well, hi, Mr. Johnson. How do you know it's me? You know what I mean? They greeted me by name and greeted me with a smile. And by the time I made it to the counter and they, confirmed and, checked me in, I heard a chime come across my phone and they immediately refunded the deposit that I put down to hold my appointment. So that was huge. Still feeling a bit skeptical, still not knowing what to expect, still concerned about the price, in the back of my mind. I'm like, I don't know what to expect. I don't know what we're gonna do, what's gonna happen today. But it did absolutely make me feel a little bit more comfortable about the process once I got in and they did that for me. It it was the main thing that was on my mind was like, all right, how much is all this costing me? So
So, whenever you went back to talk with somebody about actually, like, hey, this is going to be the price, like, what was going through your head then when you actually heard or found out what it was going to be for you?
it felt like one of those things where, like you're watching a movie and someone just kind of writes something down on a piece of paper and then passes it to you. That's what it felt like. And so once I saw that number, mind you, I'm just now starting a new job. I haven't even been there an entire year yet. Once I saw that number, I was like, oh, okay. Well, this has been great. This has been informative. Thank you so much for your time. I'll call you back. That's exactly what went through my head, and that's exactly how I felt at the time. He stopped me. He chuckled and he stopped me in my tracks and says, "Okay, well, what if I told you we do have some finance options available? You've got options." "Oh, okay, well, let me sit back down there. What are we talking about? And
You should have led with that. No.
you should have led with that. Yeah. And so we went in. He actually explained to me what my options were. And for me, it just seemed like the stars just seemed to align. He told me what they were able to do and how many different finance options and or finance companies that there were that were willing to work with me. And so I said, okay, well, if I'm going to do this, then I want to choose this one and maybe this one. And if I need to, let's choose this one. And so he said, okay, well, this is what the price breakdown would be with this company. This is how much you would have to pay per month with this company. So now that leaves you with this amount. How are you able to do that? Well, let's use this company. And this is what the price breakdown would be per month with this company. So now, you don't have to do it all at once. You can stagger your payment. And so as he's telling me and explaining all this to me, I'm processing it in my head. Like, okay, I make this amount and then I bring home this amount and my expenses are this. And so if I factor these in, I could take care of this one on this paycheck and this one on this paycheck. And I won't really feel like it started like to click. It literally started to make sense to me. And so I'm like, all right, I think I might be able to do this, you know?
Wow.
And like I said, the stars just seemed to align.
And was the way that Nuvia does it, is it kind of like an all-inclusive thing, or does your price change down the line, or how does that part of it work?
No, listen. Okay, so that is one of the things that impressed me the most is because it was all inclusive. There were no like hidden fees or hidden charges or hey, we'll see you back in 2 weeks and expect to bring this amount. Like it was none of that. Like the price he gave me when he first told me this is what you're gonna pay, was the price that they meant. And so as he gave me the cost breakdown along with my financial options, the way he broke down how much I would pay with this finance company or how much I would pay with that finance company on a monthly basis, it all seemed to work out with the price itself that he initially gave me. And so he's like, well, if you stick with it, in a couple years or in this amount of time, you could be done with this whole thing. And so I'm like, okay, all right, that it made sense. It absolutely made sense. I knew that there were some things that I would have to do in order to make this happen, but I knew that it was totally possible. Mind you, I'm just starting a brand new job. I haven't been there a year, don't have a lot of money saved up, you know what I mean? So I'm thinking, okay, there's no way I'm going to be able to do this and do that. But for me, it was more so about the fact that I could walk in on one day, come back the next day, and all of those years of pain and discomfort and sleepless nights would be over. Like finally over. I would never have to worry about anything like that again. I don't have to worry about finding a dentist or going back to a dentist or does my insurance cover this provider or just to have my tooth pulled, just to feel it again in another couple months. Like all of that would be completely over. And I'd have a brand new smile, permanent teeth in 24 hours. Like it was a no-brainer. It was a no-brainer. And even though I did leave the consultation, I went home and thought about it for like a good week before I made my decision. Literally, from the time I walked out the office to the time I called back a week later and said, let's do it, I couldn't think of anything else. I could not think of anything else. Every passing day that went by, I was like, I could have had my teeth. I could have had my new smile. I could be healing right now. I could be, every day. And it just got to the point to where it consumed me. I could not think of anything else. Even a day or two before I called Nuvia and said, okay, let's do it. I'm like, I should call him and just schedule it. I should call him and just schedule it. I should call him and just schedule it, until I actually called and scheduled it. And then once I did, I felt instant relief. Like, okay, I'm finally going to get something done. I'm finally going to get something done. I went so many years working through pain and hiding my smile, and I'm finally going to get something done. I can remember, praying. Even many sleepless nights, I would just walk around, holding my jaw, waiting for the over-the-counter meds to kick in, and sweet Jesus, please, baby Jesus, please, just take this pain away from me so that I can go to sleep, so that I can go to work. I did that for years, and to know that I could walk in on one day and put an end to it, all of that within 24 hours with a new set of permanent teeth was a game changer for me. So I did it.
Yeah, yeah, you did. Well, let's talk about, how you actually made those payments though. Because you still were like, all right, I'm gonna have to figure this out. I'm not sure how,
Yeah.
but how did you, I guess? Like walk me through, were there some changes you had to make to your lifestyle, or what did that look like?
One of the main things I did was I made the decision to quit smoking. I knew that I was going to have to quit smoking. It didn't seem feasible that I would go in and have an oral surgery, and so I'm like, all right, well, I know I'm going to have to quit smoking before the surgery. So that whole week that I took to decide, okay, am I going to do this? Am I going to do this? I'm like, I don't need to smoke if I'm going to do this. So let me just not smoke. So those first couple days were a little jarring, but I managed, because for me, correcting my oral health was more important. And so by the time I did make that phone call to say, yeah, let's go ahead and schedule surgery, I felt good about it. And to know that once I got the surgery done, like I didn't even want a cigarette. That was the furthest thing from my mind is a cigarette. I'm focused on healing right now. I want to be able to bite into an apple or enjoy nachos or whatever it is I want to eat. I want to be able to do that comfortably and put an end to all these years of pain. So yeah, I'll gladly quit smoking, if I'm going to be able to enjoy my life a whole lot more. Now I have this permanent smile and I'm able to do things that I haven't been able to do for years. And now I've just quit smoking. It like everything just seemed to just start to work in my favor where these new permanent teeth were concerned.
And it sounds like it was saving you money. Are you saying that's how that was able to allow you to pay for some of it?
It was huge. Yeah, it saved me a lot of money because one pack of cigarettes on average, especially in my part of the country, costs about $10. And I would smoke maybe 3 to 4 packs a week or 4 to 5 packs a week. So I was buying a pack about every other day. So if I bought 5 packs of cigarettes in a week's time, that's $50 a week times 4 weeks. You know what I mean? That's like $200 a month, literally going up in smoke. I could be doing something else with that $200 a month. You know what I mean? That could be going towards these finance payments. So that was huge. I was just, I mean, immediately once I made the decision and stopped buying cigarettes, I started to see my money increase to where I was able to do things. One of the other things I did was I stopped going out to eat fast food. You know, everyone is guilty of it. We are on our way home or on our way somewhere. We're hungry. We're out shopping and we get hungry. Let's stop at Wendy's or let's stop at this location or let's go by here and just grab a quick burger or a quick bite. Well, it adds up. And then especially in today's age where you don't even have to leave the house, someone will bring it to your doorstep and drop it off and take a picture and let you know it's there. It was a game changer. I was like, all right, well, I have to cut this out too. You know what I mean? And to be able to look back and see exactly how much money I was spending on Uber Eats or DoorDash or Postmates or whoever it is, um, that was an additional 50 to $100 a month. And that's just if I'm having it delivered, not, just, me gassing up the car and stopping off through the local drive-through. So, on average, I was saving between the smoking and the fast food alone, on average, I was saving uh, almost 400 to 500 bucks a month that could have been going somewhere else. You know, so those were two of the changes that I made that really significantly stick out. I did. I was able to gas up my car, no problem. I wasn't hanging out in nightclubs or bars or anything like that. I don't do those types of things anyway. But when it came time to interaction with my friends, I'm like, well, why don't you come to the house, or why don't I come over there? You know what I mean? And so I started doing things like that versus going out to be social in different spots, and it really made a difference.
It's crazy how all these little small things can add up to kind of a significant amount. Like there's many things that I'm even thinking about in this instant of like I could be saving a lot more than I am.
Oh,
Like even
absolutely.
subscriptions I forgot about, like, oh, I'm still paying for this?
Yeah, which brings me to my next point because there's a commercial floating around where a guy just kind of walks up and randomly asks you, "Hey, how many subscriptions are you paying for?" That was one of the other things. I actually went back to look and see, okay, well, what am I paying for? You know what I mean? So to find out that I had an ESPN or a Netflix or some other type of streaming account that was still linked to a previous bank card or still linked to a previous email that I'm no longer using. Like I had a couple of subscriptions and things that were recurring on my credit card that didn't have to be there. So I was able to go through and clean that up. Like I started to see my credit score raise as I'm canceling all these different payments and saving money in different locations. So that was huge. There are a number of things. If you really think about it, there are a number of things that you can actually do to help pay for financing with Nubia. And, start small. Start looking at your streaming services and what you're actually paying for. Start looking at how much money you actually spend eating out or staying home to eat with a delivery service. Start looking at how much money you actually spend on extracurriculars like smoking cigarettes or unused gym memberships, like stuff like that. Like you literally would be amazed at how much money you're spending and not realizing that you're spending, and that money could be going elsewhere. So that was those all of those helped me.
And it's really cool too, like the whole, quitting smoking or not going to fast food. That's something that can also help your health, right? So it's like you're doing these things that are actually very helpful in a way too.
Absolutely. Very helpful. Very helpful. It allowed me after my procedure to actually take better it drove me to want to take better charge over my health, not just my oral health, but my overall health. And so I found myself scheduling doctor's appointments and going in for physicals and eye exams and everything else, you know what I mean? Because now I've got this new beautiful permanent smile, you know. I want to be able to be around to enjoy it, you know what I mean? So I started making other lifestyle changes, and who knew, you know what I mean? I found out there were some other things that needed to change, and I aggressively attacked those and made choices, and I'm so glad that I did because it led me to feel better. I literally over that between that process and just going back and forth to work with being physical, like I literally during that first year lost over 100 pounds and was able to quit smoking and was able to start saving money. So it was this entire process with Nubia has been an absolute game changer for me.
Good for you. And you made those decisions for yourself too,
Yes,
like
but
you made that happen.
Nubia helped save my life. Because I saw an ad, I responded to the ad, I took action, and gradually everything just started to kind of line up, you know what I mean, to where it's supposed to be. And today, just months before my 50th birthday, I feel the best that I have felt in a very, very, very long time.
That's so amazing to hear. And have you ever felt like overwhelmed by these payments that you're making, or are you kind of like, oh, this is worth it? And like, I guess, well, what's your feeling on that?
Honestly, I can't say that I felt overwhelmed because before I left that office, I had a clear and present breakdown of what my payments would be and how many companies would I would actually finance through. And so to be able to offset that with my own financial breakdown and know how much I actually make versus how much I'm actually spending, it worked out. Like I knew, okay, I bring home this amount of money and I'm seeing this amount in extra. So if I start making these payments on this check and these payments on that check, like it'll work. It'll fall in place. So it wasn't necessarily overwhelming at all. I set everything up on auto pay so that way I wouldn't have to worry about missing the payment or, trying to figure out how to do this or how to do that. I knew that it wouldn't take long to get paid off or to get caught up. And I'll be completely honest with you. I ended up I selected three different finance options with Nuvia. And of the three, in just under 3 years, two of them are already paid off. So now I have one payment to make, one payment. And I've got it set on auto pay, so that's helping my credit. You know what I mean? And I don't have to worry about missing a payment or anything like that. And I believe, as a matter of fact, with this particular finance company, if for any reason, like, okay, let's say the holidays just came through, it, I wanted some extra money. So they're like, well, let's go ahead and defer this payment and you can worry about this later. I was like, oh, okay, cool. So that works out. Like there are a lot of great finance companies and a lot of great finance options out there. Your Nuvia Smile consultant will help you make the decisions that are best for you, and then you just do the math and figure out how you gotta do it. But it is totally, totally possible. I'm here to tell you, it's totally possible. It's totally doable. You can get it done. You should get it done.
Well, where can someone go to find out, how much these payment plans could look like for them?
So Nubia has a cost guide, and you are able to click the link below or above or to the to the side. But you're able to click that link and look at the cost guide and see what your options are as well. So I encourage you to do so.
Awesome. Cool. Well, last question. 3 years later, Bishop, has this been worth it to you? Has it been worth the price that you paid?
Hands down, absolutely. I would do it all over again if I had to. It has been more than worth it because Nuvia has been very instrumental in giving me my life back. I walked in on a Monday and had a surgery, and I walked back in 24 hours later and got a brand new permanent smile. And today, just over 3 years later, you cannot tell me that I wasn't born with these. I feel amazing. I look amazing. I get compliments every day. My confidence level is through the roof. I've been able to stop smoking. I've lost a significant amount of weight. I've gotten two of the three finance companies that I selected paid off. My credit score is increasing. Like everything is just on the up and up for me, and I have Nubia to thank for that. There are countless other companies out there that all claim to do some of the things that Nubia does, and I encourage you to do your research. But for me, hands down, Nubia was the best choice.
Wow, that's a lot of wins. That's a lot of wins that you just
It's a lot of wins, right? Like,
and some that you might not even like think of before even getting this done, like probably unexpected, I'm sure.
I mean, you wouldn't think about it. I didn't think about it, you know what I mean? Until after the fact. I didn't realize that there were so many different positive things that were going on in my life after getting the implants, and that I have to thank getting the implants and making the decision to change my life. But it absolutely is a game changer. You hear me say that a lot, but when I tell you that Nuvia does help change the game, they will help give you your life. I believe Nuvia even means new life or something like that. But you literally, you'll walk in one day, you might be skeptical, you might be feeling one way or the other, but once you make the decision to go ahead and move forward with surgery, you will be glad you did. For me, it was the one of the best decisions I've ever made for myself.
Wow. Well, I hope that this video and you sharing your story today has given people a lot of hope out there that maybe this is something that they can actually do. And if you're watching and you still have questions about the cost or what this 24-hour process can look like, check out that free cost and information guide that Bishop mentioned earlier. It's in the description. And until next time,
Keep smiling, baby.